Krishna was born at midnight. His parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, were locked up in prison. Outside, it was raining heavily. The Yamuna river that was close by was flooded. Waiting for the arrival of their eighth child, Devaki and Vasudeva were praying to Lord Vishnu. Devaki's brother Kamsa, Lord of Mathura, was waiting in his room. He called the jailer and issued a strict order.
I must be informed the moment the child is born. I'll kill it with my own hands.
Just a few years ago, Kamsa was a devoted brother to Devaki. They were cousins and were very close to each other. On the day of her wedding, he took the newly married couple in his own chariot in a procession. As everyone rejoiced, a voice was heard, loud and clear. The eighth child of Devaki will be the destroyer of all evil in this world. Kamsa was filled with fear for his life. Fear turned into hatred. Hatred turned into anger. He jumped off the chariot, drew out his sword, and charged at Devaki. Vasudeva stopped Kamsa. Devaki has done you no harm, Kamsa, he said in a quiet voice.
Her son is going to kill me.
But you cannot harm your own sister,
All right, she will live, but all her babies shall die as soon as they are born.
said Kamsa. Devaki and Vasudeva were not allowed to leave their house. Kamsa threw his old father into prison, and he was now the Lord of Mathura. Kamsa put to death every child born to Devaki. The seventh baby was stillborn,
I'll wait for the eighth child.
said Kamsa. He moved the couple to a well guarded prison. Soon, Devaki delivered her eighth child. Lord Vishnu appeared to the couple. I have taken birth as your eighth child. Your seventh son too is still alive, Vasudeva. He was shifted using magic to your first wife, Rohini's house. Lord Vishnu blessed the couple and vanished. Vasudeva's first wife, Rohini, lived in the village of Gokula on the other side of the river Yamuna. Devaki, our seventh child is alive and Rohini is looking after him. Our eighth child too is safe. It is Lord Vishnu himself, said Vasudeva. Devaki looked at her little son. He was dark and handsome. He had a bewitching smile. Krishna, my Krishna, she whispered as she kissed the baby. Krishna means the one as handsome as the rain-bearing cloud. To his surprise, Vasudeva found that the chain binding his legs had come off. The prison gates too opened magically. The guards had fallen off to a deep sleep. Vasudeva tenderly picked up baby Krishna, hugged him, and placed him in a basket. I'll take you to safety, he said softly. Devaki watched, her heart beating fast, prayer on her lips. Vasudeva walked out of the prison, carrying baby Krishna in the basket, uttering the name of the Lord. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. It was just past midnight. A lone man stepped out of the citadel of Mathura. He was carrying a basket on his head. It was Vasudeva, carrying his newly born son Krishna to safety. His wife Devaki's cousin Kamsa was determined to kill the child as soon as it was born. Vasudeva walked towards the riverfront. It was raining heavily. The Yamuna was flooded. No one would dare to cross the river. But Vasudeva had to reach the village of Gokula, which was on the other side of the river. But as soon as Vasudeva stepped into the river, the waters parted. There was a clear path for him to walk across. Vasudeva began to walk without hurry. A seven-hooded serpent appeared behind him silently. It spread its hood over the basket, shielding the child from the pouring rain. Vasudeva reached the other bank of the river. He started walking towards the village of Gokula. As he neared the house of his friend Nanda, the village chief, he found the doors open. He walked inside. Nanda's wife Yashoda had just given birth to a baby girl. This child was Yogamaya, a goddess with magical power. Vasudeva placed his son next to the sleeping Yashoda. He took the little girl and placed her lovingly in his basket. Vasudeva walked back to Mathura. As he entered the prison, the serpent disappeared. Vasudeva lowered the basket and gently placed the baby girl next to his wife Devaki. The child let out a cry. The guards woke up and rushed to give Kamsa the news. The eighth child of Devaki was born. Kamsa, the lord of Mathura, got news that his cousin Devaki had delivered the much awaited child. This eighth child of Devaki was going to be the destroyer of all evil. Fearing for his life, Kamsa wanted to kill this child. Devaki's husband Vasudeva tried to stop him. Kamsa, it's a girl. Let her live.
Girl?
Kamsa exclaimed in disbelief. Kamsa was unaware that Vasudeva had shifted his eighth son to the village of Gokula. He had brought with him the baby girl born to Yashoda, who was his friend Nanda's wife. This baby girl was in fact goddess Yogamaya.
Girl or boy? The eighth child of Devaki is my enemy.
Kamsa said as he snatched the child from Devaki. To his shock, the baby girl, Yogamaya, flew out of his hands and high into the sky. Goddess Yogamaya laughed loudly. You fool! Your destroyer, the eighth child of Devaki, is safe elsewhere. Kamsa suddenly felt weak in the limbs.
My destroyer is born elsewhere.
He muttered as he collapsed. Gradually, Kamsa recovered. He stood up, clenched his fists, and thundered.
I'll find Devaki's eighth son, wherever he is, and I'll destroy him.
Meanwhile, in Gokula, Nanda's first wife, Rohini, heard a baby's cry. She rushed to Yashoda's house. Her little son, Balrama, ran after her. Rohini was delighted to see the baby born to Yashoda. She hugged her friend and kissed the newborn. You have a little brother now, Balrama, she said to her son. Rohini did not know that Balrama was in fact Devaki's seventh child. He was Krishna's elder brother. Before his birth, goddess Yogamaya had moved him to Rohini's womb. Thus, Balrama was born to Rohini. Soon, the whole village heard that Chief Nanda was now a father to a baby boy. People gathered at his house. Sweets were distributed. Ladies sang songs, girls danced. Nanda named his son Krishna. Everyone was happy. Little did they know that danger lurked and dark forces were out to get little Krishna. Kamsa, the lord of Mathura, was nervous.
My destroyer is safe somewhere.
He told his advisors. It was said that the eighth son of his cousin Devaki would be the destroyer of all evil. Fearing for his life, Kamsa wanted to kill this child. But the baby had been secretly shifted to safety. You can still kill your enemy. After all, he is a helpless, suckling baby, said an advisor.
But how? I do not know who he is or where he is.
Said Kamsa. We don't have to know who he is, said a minister. Let us kill all the babies born this week in our kingdom. Another minister disagreed. Your Majesty, people will revolt if we start killing babies. Kamsa smiled.
I can trust Putana to do it quietly. Babies will die, but no one will suspect us.
Kamsa had employed a group of demons who had magical powers. One of them was Putana. She could fly, change her form, and draw blood. But even Putana found the job given to her sickening. Lord, you want me to kill babies? Babies who have done us no harm.
Putana, an enemy has to be nipped in the bud.
Said Kamsa.
Besides, are you disobeying my command?
Thus silenced, Putana set out on her mission to kill all suckling infants in Mathura. Putana stood in front of the mirror. Looking at herself, she smiled. No baby would ever come to me with such a terrible look. She mused. The next moment, she changed her form to that of a loving woman with a motherly look. Putana set out looking for her victims. She heard a faint cry coming from a house. She walked in and spoke gently to the mother. Your baby seems to be hungry. The mother looked sad. I know. I don't have enough milk for him. Picking up the baby, Putana said, Let me feed your child. The mother left her baby with Putana and turned to her household work. When she came out after finishing her work, she found the woman gone. The baby was sleeping peacefully. But as she picked up the child, she noticed it had turned blue. The woman was heartbroken to find her baby dead. Soon, news came from all parts of Mathura. A baby killer was on the loose. Mothers were advised not to trust strangers. With her job done in Mathura, Putana decided to head to the village of Gokula. Nanda, the chief of the village Gokula, came to Mathura. All the village chiefs would come to Mathura once a year to hand over part of their earnings to King Kamsa. Your Majesty, please accept these sweets as well, said Nanda to Kamsa. I am now a father to a healthy baby boy. As soon as Nanda left, Kamsa summoned Putana and asked her to leave for Gokula immediately.
A child was born in Nanda's house on the very day my enemy was taken elsewhere. Use your charm, get that child on your lap and feed him your poison.
Chief Nanda called on his friend Vasudeva, who had been set free by Kamsa. We now have a son. We call him Krishna. Vasudeva smiled. Take care of your son, my friend. There are evil forces at play. I pray to Lord Vishnu for his safety. Meanwhile, Putana had reached Gokula. She easily found her way to Chief Nanda's house where the celebration was still going on. There were many women visiting Yashoda. Putana joined them. She was clad in a silk sari, covered with ornaments and with jasmine flowers hanging from her plaited hair. She went straight to the room where ladies were admiring the newborn son of Nanda. Putana patted the child lovingly and gathered him in her arms. Somebody called Yashoda and she went out, leaving the child alone with the visitor. The innocent child smiled at her. Meanwhile, Nanda came back to Gokula after his visit to Mathura. He saw Yashoda rushing out of the house with Krishna in her arms. Yashoda pointed out to her husband the female demon sprawled on the ground. Nanda was relieved that his little son was safe. Nanda held his son in arms, lost in thought. Did my little son kill the demon? Where did she come from? The child smiled. Nanda prayed for Krishna's safety.